Hey guys, what's happening? So we're back for more Venom War with Venom War Carnage, where at this point Carnage reaches the end of his investigation on the K program, and not only does this lead to Carnage learning everything he wanted to know about the K chemical, but it also takes him to a fight with Meridius, where they both hit each other with the biggest weapons in their arsenal. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so for Venom War Carnage issues 2 and 3, this gives us the conclusion to the investigating that Carnage has been doing to learn as much as he could about the K chemical, with it recently being the one thing to nearly kill Carnage, which is a feeling Carnage hasn't had in a long time, because now that he's reached God levels of power, sure there's been moments where Carnage has felt pain, but nothing has brought him as close to death as the K chemical. But like we saw, this investigation led Carnage right to the doorstep of Finn Taylor, an Alchemax employee who got a ridiculous raise after miraculously discovering a mysterious substance that makes symbiote strains vulnerable to destruction, almost as if someone just handed it to him. So to find out more, Carnage ended up taking Finn's body and literally wearing him as a disguise in order to get full access to the K program so he can learn everything there is to know about it. Because again, as powerful as Carnage is, this mysterious K chemical, it's the one thing that can eventually blindside him and take him out. So he wants to make sure that he knows what this is, as well as the different ways it can be used, so he's not caught off guard and actually killed by it later on. But nonetheless, as Carnage makes his way into the lab, looking as normal as any creature wearing a human skin, as soon as he arrives, he's greeted by Dr. Freck, where in his case, we know how things play out for him after what we saw in the Venom War Venomized tie-ins, because this is just another one of those events where things don't come out in the order they happened in. So for that reason, just think of Venom War Carnage as one big flashback before issues 4 and 5. But nonetheless, at this point in time, Dr. Freck has come for an inspection because they need something marketable for the auction next week. And so the way this was supposed to play out, Finn Taylor, who's currently Carnage's meat puppet, he was supposed to do this presentation for Dr. Freck, but now with Carnage having taken over his body and his memories, he's still able to do this presentation as if he was Finn, because Finn rehearsed his lines a number of times before this, so now Carnage knows those words as his own. But even with that being the case, even though he knows the presentation, for Carnage, seeing this is a whole nother story. So as they get started, one of the first things that's shown to Dr. Freck is a demonstration proving that the K program has been able to successfully get a symbiote to bond with a host of their choosing without hesitation. And even though Carnage is explaining this through Finn, it's shocking for him to see as well. And mind you, this whole time inside of Finn, who's still alive, there's also this conversation between Carnage and Cletus Cassidy that's taking place here as well, because Cletus is a little curious too, though not nearly as much as Carnage. But as his presentation continues, Dr. Freck expresses that he'd much rather have male samples, something more soldier-like for the auction. So next, he shows Dr. Freck K ammunition, which can be made for and shot by any ordinary high-caliber weapon. So to demonstrate, he just one-shots the subject, who is just now successfully bonded to a symbiote. And Dr. Freck is impressed. But on the other hand, Cletus, he's just like, hey, we've seen enough, why don't we just kill everybody here? But Carnage, he doesn't want to stop now, he wants this to continue, because he wants to see more. So after this, the next demonstration they go to is inoculation. And mind you, these demonstrations fall right in line with what Liz Allen found when she discovered the secret of the K program, like we saw in Carnage Volume 4. Because back when Flash went to her about the whole conspiracy of Carnage coming back, which was true, Liz later discovered that Alchemax was funding a secret R&D project that she had no access to from her computer, which was definitely a red flag with her being the CEO. So after following the paper trail, Liz found one of these secret labs filled with top secret information as well as a prototype weapon. But when she went back to Flash's apartment to share with him what she found, this only led Liz right into the middle of a fight between Carnage and Flash. But in all of this, Liz ended up discovering that the K program started as a symbiote R&D project that Alchemax shut down years ago. And as of recently, the theoretical applications that the program was experimenting with, it included the new K chemical, synthetic hives, mind control, and possible human inoculation, to where now all of which are being shown in this demonstration. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that back up, because we covered when Liz discovered all this. So fast forward to now in Venom War with us actually seeing it, this is now like the confirmation for everything that Liz saw. So next, for the inoculation demonstration, they view a test subject who's been treated to be immune to symbiotes by way of an injection that only takes 4 hours to work. And so they demonstrate this by releasing a symbiote in the room with this guy that is desperate for a host, but when it gets close to him, it refuses to bond with him, proving that the vaccine works as intended. And even though this vaccine is most effective when injected, they've also found it to be useful in an aerosol version that's harmless to humans but lethal to symbiotes, and even more effective in a liquid version, which they currently have in their sprinkler system. So after hearing this, Dr. Freck asked about the downsides, which as of right now is mainly 2 things, with the first being the cost, because at this stage it's very expensive to reproduce these demonstrations, and the second thing is most of this is relatively untested on grown or mature symbiotes, so as it stands it's unproven if any of this will work on a symbiote that's much older and more powerful. So for the next demonstration, they showed Dr. Freck their progress on the synthetic hive, which at this point is being touted as the main event, while the other demonstrations from before are considered to be your high-cost first line of defense. So to show this off, they have one of their employees wearing this headpiece designed to make her the hive leader. So for the purpose of the demonstration, she shoots at a dummy, while the other symbiotes who are bonded to corpses, they follow behind her, though they're only shooting blanks. But as this is happening, the symbiotes, they don't only show that they can follow orders, but they also demonstrate that they can understand intention. And as Cletus and Carnage are seeing this, they notice that something's off, something's missing, because this isn't something that humans could achieve without help. And they quickly find out that it's not working as well as it seems when the human hive leader loses her lunch, and she shoots the other scientists in the room as a result of the hive taking control of her. And this immediately causes things to escalate, because right away Dr. Freck is just yelling code red, and he's yelling at Finn to flush the cage, but Dr. Freck ain't sticking around to see what happens next. But after that, when this hive and the scientists come out of the room, they approach Carnage because they see right through his disguise. And even though it seems like they're attacking Empyre, because the hive gets this scientist to shoot off his hand, Carnage senses a connection to them, and he realizes they're just curious and they're testing him. But this gets interrupted when security comes through, and they attempt to save Finn, but before they know it, they're just quickly overwhelmed. And I want to point out that right now, Cletus is trying to tell Carnage they need to go. But Carnage tells him no, and it's not only because he wants to see what these symbiotes are gonna do, but it's also because Carnage feels a connection to them. He feels their panic and their pain as if it's his own. So when the scientist catches a headshot, Carnage feels that too. So when they activate the sprinklers, which have the potent version of the symbiote killing vaccine in it, Carnage feels the death of these symbiotes like it's his own. And when it gets under Finn's skin, it hits Carnage, giving Finn the opportunity to regain control just for a moment and tell the guards Carnage is in him. Though unfortunately, those would be Finn's last words. So now that Carnage's cover is blown, he just lets loose and tears into these guys. And it's a bloodbath. But to Carnage's surprise, this baptism is ended quite abruptly when he's stabbed through the back by Meridius. And I gotta say, with how this happens, it's supposed to be another big reveal kind of moment, because throughout Carnage Volume 4, as well as Venom War Carnage, we've been getting narration from Meridius. So with Meridius, who's been watching Carnage, steps in here because Carnage is about to win, it's supposed to feel like this moment where it's like, oh wow, there he is. But it just doesn't manage to capture that feeling. And if you ask me, the reason why, it's mainly because of the structure of Venom War. Because since these issues aren't released in order, we already know there's an encounter coming after this encounter. So for that reason, the suspense of what comes next, it's completely gone. But at this time, when Carnage seeing Meridius here, it throws him off, because he thought he killed Meridius in the garden. So Meridius tells him no, that just ripped him to pieces and sent him back to the beginning of time. And I mean, really, it's Eddie who sent Meridius to the beginning of time, but we're splitting hairs at this point. So next, Carnage is just like, okay, didn't kill you the first time, so practice makes perfect. And he goes to attack Meridius. But with Carnage going after Meridius here, it's more so the case of him not knowing what to do. And since he doesn't know what to do, he just resorts to doing what he always does. And on the other hand with Meridius, of course, he's fighting back because he just wants to protect his investment. And when it comes to Cletus Cassidy, right now he's just quiet. But he's gonna have plenty to say later, we'll get to that. But right now with Carnage doing most of the talking, Carnage lets Meridius know if the roles were reversed and Carnage was here from the beginning of time, he wouldn't be hiding, he'd run it. But the thing is, Meridius, he knows Carnage better than that. Because the truth is, Carnage would just destroy it. So he just rips off Carnage's head and tells him stop fighting so they can talk. And he tells Carnage, I know you have questions, I will answer, if you will but calm down for a moment. So Carnage asked him directly, "It was you? The weapons, all the K chemical nonsense?" And Meridius confirms that it was, because he'd been planning this from the beginning of time. Because after Carnage destroyed Meridius' garden in the far future, which threw Meridius along with the different Eddies into the time stream, after that when Eddie sent Meridius back to the beginning of time, this is what started Meridius on the path of doing something completely different. Which is why after that happened, I started referring to Meridius as Meridius 2.0. Because his end goal is different from what it was before. And now that he's able to have a conversation with Carnage, it's here where he explains this to him. Because he goes on to say, "Indeed, I have been waiting, planning since the beginning of time. I have lain dormant through most of it. For the first millennium, I made sure not to disturb the past. But some years ago, I realized that the future I was working for could not come to be without intervention. I met a man from the future, but he was not from my future. It was not the Eden I had so meticulously planned. I was curious. And this man, he had a broken husk of a symbiote. So I took his mind, and in it, I saw the destruction of everything." And as he's explaining this, we can see that this man from the future, he's the old man formerly known as Dylan. But Meridius goes on to say, "I saw his future, the future. I saw the world lifeless and cold. I saw the last of humanity fight their futile fight. And I saw their enemy, half machines, half symbiotes, stunning things. And then I felt it, the poison they used to kill their enemy. Agony like nothing I've ever experienced before or after. You know the pain I speak of, do you not?" To where then Carnage's little head just looks up at Meridius and says, "I know it." So Meridius continues, and he goes on to tell Carnage, "I was hurt, I was humbled, but in my disgrace, I saw the potential. The poison coursing through me was like nothing I had seen on Earth before. But now, I had it. The old fool thought it would kill me. Instead, he gave me a gift. I could harness it. He gave me the means to create this." As he shows Carnage a vial containing the K chemical, which now has Carnage realizing this is where the K project truly began. So Meridius goes on to say, "Is that what they call it? The humans? How pedestrian. Involving them was an unfortunate necessity. Think of it as Clintar life essence, deadly, or life-giving, black, or white. But it has many potential applications, as you've seen. They came up with most of them. It is funny. One would think it would bother them, the humans. One would think once they saw the plan, once they saw the potential for enslavement and destruction of free will, one would think they would refuse. But they saw a product line, an investment opportunity. I had a sales pitch ready, but they did not need it. Humanity will happily contribute to their own obsolescence, as long as they make some money in the process." But as Carnage follows Meridius deeper into this new garden, it's here where Cletus breaks his silence, and he tells Carnage if there's a god in this garden, it's not you. He is playing with you, playing you. We need to get out of here. He wants something from you. Can't you tell? And Cletus is absolutely right, because next Meridius hands Carnage the K chemical, and he tells Carnage that he's here because he has a purpose, because just like Meridius, Carnage believes he can change the world. So in the here and now, this is Meridius trying to get Carnage on his side, because he wants Carnage to join him and kill Eddie Brock. But the way Meridius is wording this, it's as if Carnage has already agreed and they're moving on to the next step, because now Meridius is asking Carnage how he's gonna go about killing Eddie. But Carnage is just like, whoa, slow your roll, I didn't agree to nothing. And this causes the tension to quickly build from here, because now Meridius is more or less like, I didn't bring you in this far to let you just walk away. There's a war coming, and I need to know whose side you're on. So Carnage just looks him right in the face and says, "Mine," which of course was not the answer Meridius was looking for. So he just punches right into Carnage as a way of going for the answer himself, because he wants to see what Carnage has planned for Eddie and how he's planned to kill him. But Carnage is able to pull away and smack Meridius while telling him, "Get out of my head. I am not some simpering symbiote you can control at will. I am Carnage." So Meridius, he more or less agrees, because he knows he can't control Carnage or force him to do what he wants. So he more or less tells him like, "Hey, I can't make you do what I want you to do, but don't think I can't kill you." Just before he grabs Carnage by the neck and dunks him into the K chemical. And it burns Carnage like crazy, but it's not a pain that he's unfamiliar with. And the K chemical is not something that Carnage has grown fully immune to yet. So if he's in here long enough, it could kill him. So as Meridius is holding Carnage down in here, and I mean, this is a full body baptism we're talking about. But as he's holding him down, Meridius asks, have you had enough? Or will your pride cost you your life? And so it's here where Carnage more or less gives in, because it's here where he tells Meridius how he plans to kill Eddie, as he rises up with the Necro Spear and puts it right in Meridius' chest. And he tells Meridius, this is how you kill an Eddie. Remember this, Meridius. I let you live. And this whole time, Cletus is trying to tell Carnage to kill him, but Carnage just walks away. So Meridius, he's telling Carnage to stay, and if he does, he'll give Carnage what he wants. But Carnage continues to leave while saying, you do not know what I want, Meridius. Only for Meridius to say, yes, I do. And that sticks with Carnage even after he leaves. And the next thing we see later on is a conversation between Cletus and Carnage, where Cletus is asking Carnage, why didn't you kill Meridius? And he tells Carnage that he wished he would just let all of this go, between the war and all this K-chemical nonsense, because Cletus just wants things to go back to how they were. But the way that Carnage sees it, they can't avoid this war that's coming. And at the end of the day, Cletus, he sees where this could potentially take them. But he just doesn't think that's any fun, because Cletus sees the world as it is, as their garden, and he doesn't want that to change. But as they're walking and talking, there's a kind of wild moment here, because when Cletus sees this couple in the alley getting ready to make macaroni and cheese noises, Cletus just takes the both of them out as a way of showing Carnage what he means with Cletus not wanting things to change. So again, Carnage tells Cletus that he does, and this causes Cletus to step out of the symbiote. So of course Carnage reminds him that he made Cletus. He constructed this body and put Cletus' mind in it, and this body can't survive without the Carnage symbiote. So when Cletus steps out, Carnage is expecting him to just crumple down, but he doesn't. And in response to Carnage saying, you need me, Cletus just looks back and he's like, are you sure? You need me more than I need you, Carnage. Because now Cletus Cassidy is as much of a human as he ever was. So from here, he just walks away while telling Carnage, find me when you're done playing God, which from here just leaves the Carnage symbiote without Cletus once again, as the Carnage symbiote looks down at the gift he was given by Meridius, which now after all that's happened, it begs the question of how much stronger is Carnage against the K-chemical now? And not just that, but did they just give Meridius a higher tolerance against the Necro Spear? Because if that's the case, they literally just gave each other an upgrade. But we'll find out more pretty soon. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.